So I've separately reviewed the AMT-10 Jacket. I want to briefly go over the pants. And why briefly? Well, because to be honest, the pants are not as interesting as the jacket. So what you have here is a laminated textile pant. Unlike the jacket, which has this awesome, like, partially removable waterproof layer to reveal a ton of venting, what you have is kind of a more traditional laminated pant with a large vent associated with it. So let's talk about the outside a little bit. What we have here is a couple different materials. You have primarily a polyester laminated DryStar XF fabric with a double layer in your impact zones attached to the armor pockets. So you have knee and hip armor. That armor, it goes into a pocket. On top of the pocket is a second layer of this shell fabric. This DryStar XF is a hydrophilic, I believe they said, membrane. Essentially, it's one of the sort of PU-coated membranes, like a few of those out there, that instead of allowing water vapor to go through little tiny pores, it's actually mechanically pulling the water vapor as you sweat out to the surface where it then evaporates. So it's actually going from the, like through a capillary type action out. I will say I have worn these pants on quite a warm day, a few very warm days because it's summertime. And they are, for a laminated pant, quite comfortable. Even up into very, very hot temperatures here in Virginia, deep 80s, low 90s. I was noticeably warm when it got up to 90, but these are more comfortable than something like a Goretex pant for sure. Okay, we've got leather grip panels on the inside, and then behind the knee, you have some of their ride knit stretch material. The only downside, it's great, it's super comfy, it's probably the nicest stretch material around. But you've also got a layer of the laminate kind of in front of that, so you're not getting this at the back of your knee per se, but it is there to kind of give you comfort. So when you're bent over in a adventure riding position that's usually a fairly 90-degree angle type thing or more, you're not getting the polyester kind of biting into your leg. You have flexibility there. I will say that it's kind of unfortunate that the polyester is non-stretchy. Especially since, in my opinion, the pant runs a tiny bit tight on the legs. You have a fantastic amount of accordion here sewn in with the laminate, and then you have a very large gusset as well. I was able to get these pants over top of Alpinestars Tech 10 MX boots. So these will work with size 13/48 European. So I'm going to say that these will work with whatever boot you have to a greater or lesser degree of comfort, but they're going to go over top if you try hard enough. Because of how small they can get, and they're using, the zipper is behind a flap, as you can see, and then you've got this stretch that it's pretty small. You can also use these in the boot. So if you want to run in the boot but still have cold weather, comfort, that's an option as well. You have a water-resistant zipper. Behind the zipper is a water-resistant gusset, so you should not get any infiltration there. You have a slide plus a snap. Jack to pants zipper. You've got really nice slide tension waist fastener or waist adjuster, which is, in my opinion, preferable to Velcro because it doesn't wear out. Behind that, you've got a little bit more ride knit stretch to give you a little bit of flexibility in your waist. And then the rest of it at the back is a nice, like, 3D mesh. Unfortunately, they didn't put 3D mesh in the seat area. That's always nice, especially on a laminated pant. It keeps you up, lets some of the water vapor get out. At the back, you have another large accordion area. And then the final thing here is the venting. So they're using a Matryx mesh panel. And if you watch my jacket video, you know this is a French product. It's a very, very strong, very, very lightweight, very thin mesh with Kevlar in it. And what they've done is they put it behind a pocket that gives you a couple options here. You have this nice little loop here to help you figure out where the zipper is if you have gloves on. You have an auto-locking zipper there. And if you open this up, when you're sitting on the bike, this is going to scoop in a moderate amount of air. And then if you want to completely open it up, you zip both zippers down, and then the whole flap folds away into the knee area. And again, this is like not terribly uncommon, right? A lot of pants have a full open flap. I like the thoughtfulness of the double venting here that you have and the little tab. But the one thing that is a little different is that this panel is a little more outboard than a lot of pants do. A lot of them will do it more directly over top of your leg, in my experience. This is almost in fact it is in the hip impact area. Because they've used a very strong material that's probably more abrasion resistant than the primary pant chassis, they're able to get away with putting this in a impact prone area and not worry about it. Speaking of impacts, this pant comes with enormous level 2 Nucleon Flex Pro knee protectors. They do a pretty good job of cupping around your knee, and they are very large and quite vented. At your hip, you get their level 1 slightly thinner BioFlex that they've been using for a while. And that's about it. Just a quick note on sizing. I did mention that I found it was a little small. So they have a new size chart on their website. It's very detailed. In my experience with a couple of their newer items, it's very accurate. I find that this runs... The waist is kind of what I'd expect for a medium, maybe a little bit snug. The legs are small. I exercise a fair bit. I have decent sized thighs. The legs are too small for me. They're too tight. So I would have to step up to a large. I usually wear like a size 30 to 32 in American jeans, and a medium in most other brands, and I would need a large in these. So in my experience, it's about a half size small / tight from an American perspective. So definitely look at the size chart. Like I said, it has a lot of measurements. It's very accurate. It includes thigh measurements, hip measurements, etc. So check that out. But if you're looking, and this does come in 2 colors. There is the black version, which is cheaper. There's a lab version, which, as far as I can tell, is just tan. That's the only difference, with some different branding. Which, for pants especially, is phenomenal, right? With something that doesn't have a lot of mesh, a tan pant is going to soak up a lot less solar gain. It is going to get a lot dirtier, especially down here. I've seen tan pants tend to collect road grime on the lower area. So, trade-off there. I do recommend this as a, cold to fairly warm pant. I found the airflow was fantastic. I found the comfort was quite good. I wish that they'd used the kind of stretch nylon that they put in the layer on the jacket. I wish this had more venting and more stretch. Really my ideal would be like most of this zipped off, and behind that was a leather knee patch and a huge block of the Matryx and a bunch of ride knit, and then the lower leg could be the same, but now I'm just wishing. But at the price point, it's a great option. I recommend.